few minutes. So get on in here. Get on in here. We are talking about how to get that first $100,000. Get on in here. Get on in here. We're talking about how to get that first $100,000 in 2026. And I'm going to go back, not to the millionaire that I am today and making all of this money. I'm taking you back to like how to get that first $100,000 like I did, because I realized you can't get to the millions if you're worried about how to pay rent and if this person bill collector's calling and bad credit. You can't. So we got to get to that first $100,000. And I'm going to give you steps to do that today, because it really is possible. And that's what's going to unlock lots of wealth for you. So get on in here, get on in here. I'm going to really be giving it to you. I wanted to do this live stream. I said, you know what? I'm just going to go live. I'm leaving my properties for something. I was like, I don't care. So I got my hat on and I'm going to give you these 6 steps, because like I said, I actually felt rich when I had $100,000 in the bank, not when I got made $6 million and when I closed a deal and they paid me a check for $472,000, and these big checks that I've gotten, that came later. I really felt rich once I had $100,000 in the bank. So I'm going to just give today. This is going to be 6 steps for you. If you're a big baller in your business and you're already making millions, you can just skip this stream. But I decided I'm going to go live because we have so much going on right now. We got wars and political unrest and all of these noises that are in our lives that are distracting us. So get on in here, get on in here. I am going to break this down for you. You're going to get that pen, that paper. I want you to get your pen and your paper and write this down, because I'm going to give you 6 steps, seriously. And you're going to get that first $100,000 and you will text me and let me know, hey, I got that first $100,000 and now I can easily get to a million. Okay. Because you do have to understand, like I said, there is no making millions if you can't pay the rent. There's no millions if you're worried if bill collectors are calling. So we got to get that first $100,000, because that unlocks millions. Okay. All right. So I have a Grow Your Wealth Bootcamp this Saturday, March 14th, all day. You can we're our final ticket. So you can go to growyourwealthbootcamp.com, use code FINAL200 to save $200 off tickets, the VIP as well. And with the VIP, you'll actually get these ebooks sent to you. And I'm going to be actually referencing especially a lot from the Pick a Horse, because when I wrote Pick a Horse, I was going back to, all right, here's the mindset shift that I did too. Not just, okay, here's my millionaire secrets on real estate and calling this person and saying this in this script. No, let me tell you kind of how I got to the mindset where I'm going to reduce my expenses and I'm going to invest that money, okay, in me. I'm going to learn a skill that's going to make me a lot of money. And for me, that was wholesaling. And then I took wholesaling. Then I took that to fixing and flipping. Then I took that to rental properties, called rental properties. That's called deal compounding. And I was able to quit my job doing that. But it truly was wholesaling, was truly being bankrupt, broke, no money, and having to go find deals. Okay. And find people that were in distress, that were having property problems, and flip those property problems into $5,000 assignment fees for myself. Okay. That's how I was able to do deals immediately and start getting 5,000, 5,000, 5,000 again. Now I'm able to get that $100,000, put that in the bank. Now I can take that to the next level. Now I can fix and flip. Now I can fix my credit. Now I don't have bad credit. And so I can do a fix and flip. I can get a hard money loan, things like that. So let's break this down, because like I said, it's not the million that's going to make you feel rich. It's that first $100,000. I know how good that felt. And what I'm saying is, I want that for you. I know how good it feels to have 6 figures in an account, always, that you earn money. It's not a loan. You earned it in your business. So the first step, the absolute first step, and you got to write this down, is you got to cut all the expenses out. You got to get down. Why I ended up in my parents' basement and why I humbled myself. Okay, I've told you guys this. I'm a multimillionaire today, but I started off broke, bankrupt, with bad credit, and I moved in with my parents, pregnant with my 3rd child. I had to get all of my expenses down. I had to cut, I couldn't have rent. I couldn't have, I did have a car note. We kept the car note because my dad had actually co-signed on the car and I didn't want to give him a repossession. That's the only reason I kept the car. So I'm giving you guys I'm just going to be vulnerable. I've made millions, but I'm telling you my vulnerability. I had a really expensive car note and I wanted to give that in the bankruptcy too, but I didn't want to ruin my dad's credit. So I kept that $700 car note when I was in my parents' basement. Okay. But I had to get rid of everything, cut every subscription, cut your rent, move in with somebody if you need to. Like go down to the bare minimum, no buying clothes. Because again, I'm gonna now take this money and so I can take some risks, so I can learn something, so I can do something with it. So step one is cutting those expenses, getting it down to the bare bones. Food. We're shopping at Aldi for food. We're shopping at blah blah blah. We're not at the stop and shops and the Publixes for the food. We're not. I'm getting my expenses all the way down. And it's important if you want to get that first $100,000, you got to get your expenses. You got to cut your costs. You got to get all of that stuff out of the way. And I'm telling you what I did. That's why I filed bankruptcy, Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Okay, at the end of the end of 2008, my bankruptcy was finalized. And so January of 2009, when I'm living in my parents' basement, pregnant, now I have no bills. I don't have a mortgage payment. I gave up all the houses I was flipping. I gave up the other cars. So now I just have one car. I'm shopping at the cheap places. Um, when I have my baby, I'm going to nurse my baby. I don't have money for formula. You get what I'm saying? I am cutting all of my expenses. And you have to cut all of your expenses. And we'll talk about what you're going to do with that extra money. But if you're still trying to live your life while climbing out, that's not it. That's why I said if you are already balling in your business, making $1 million, you can skip this one. But the rest of you can stay with me. If you want that first $100,000, I'm telling you, you got to cut the expenses down. And I'm telling you my real story. That's why y'all love me. I give y'all the real. Like it's not always easy to say I was broke, bankrupt, living in a basement, but it's my truth. And and looking back, genius. Now at the time, I just did that, and I was pulled into that. Like I was pulled, like I was trying to hold on, my pride, my ego, and you got to let that go because now you're missing out on this beautiful life that's ahead of you. Once you can make millions, baby, you don't even care what they was thinking. Okay, so I'm telling you, you get to see the end and know that the beginning is a little ugly. Okay, and it is shopping at the cheap grocery stores. It's making your own meals. It's just cutting those expenses. So that's step one. Okay, because I said I'm gonna give you six. So stay with me and get your pencil and paper out. And know, like I said, somebody already typed. Like I said, Grow Your Wealth Bootcamp, Saturday, March 14th, 2026. That's a Saturday, all day. VIP, it starts actually at 10 a.m. Use code FINAL200 to save $200 off tickets. We're on our final tickets. All right. So this is going to be big because I'm going to teach you business credit, wholesale, and we're going to get all into this real estate stuff. But I'm going to give you a lot of it here. So, all right. So that's number one. Okay. And you're doing that though, so you can take some risk. Because if you're still struggling to pay the rent, still struggling to pay the car note, behind on bills, you can't take any risks. So you got to get that out of the way. Okay. And again, not big risks, small risks. Because you can make a lot of money with small risks. Like I said, people think that you have to risk your whole life and to make a lot of money. And you can just start taking small risks. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But cut everything. Cut everything. That's step one. Step two, you got to save time. You have to start using your time differently. And so, okay, some people think that it's their 9 to 5 that's stopping them. And I'm telling you unequivocally, it is not. Your 9 to 5 is not what's holding you back. It's that 5 to 9 before you go to work and that 5 to 9 after work. You're wasting that time. I know you are. You're scrolling, you're watching TV, you're scrolling on TikTok, you're commenting, you're sleeping, you're laying around, you're doing this, that, and the other. And you have to start using your time for money, your time, because again, you got to get out of this. You don't ever want to go back there again. If you're there now, you can leave this place and never go back. I will never be living in my parents' basement again. I assure you. I have enough assets that even my kids have assets, but that's not where I started. I had to start using my time to make money and thinking about that. So let's talk about what you're doing with your time. And this is why I said if you want to do VIP, I'll actually send you this book, VIP, for the Grow Your Wealth boot camp. If you go to growyourwealthbootcamp.com and you do the VIP option, use discount code FINAL200 to save $200 off the ticket. I'm talking about this, and I really get into detail in the book. But I'm talking about what I did with my time to make money. Okay, and so I'm now using that time to go out and think about how to make money. So I'm putting out flyers, I'm sending letters, I'm handing out things. I'm doing these really low cost, almost, free and low cost things to promote and bring me in dollars, because that's what I'm going to do with my time now. And if you are currently in a situation where you're like, I need $100,000, you got to do an assessment. You got to audit what you're doing with your time, because most likely, what I know is that you're wasting a lot of time and you're not using your time to make money. And that is the key. Okay, that is the key. And billionaires, okay, as I'm going to that status, as I'm going from millionaire to billionaire, it's a lot of active things. It's not passive. It's not. It's active. It's doing stuff. It's making these videos. It's doing events. It's going to speaking engagements. It's taking on high-end clients that pay me six figures. That's the thing. Partnering with people where I own a portion of their business, where we partner together and we get even more properties. That's the billionaire stuff. So it's active. So you got to be able to do stuff, and everything can't be passive. You can't think that, oh, I'll send out, these text messages. No, you have to talk on the phone. I can't just, oh, I sent a letter. Well, when they call you, because you sent them a letter, you have to answer the phone and talk to them and convert them. You got to be using your time differently and focusing your time that you have. All of your free time is focused on making money. You get that? So now I've audited my time, and I'm realizing, I'm going to school. I'm living in my parents' basement. I go to school, but before school, after school, before this baby comes, I can now do something with this time to make money. And that's what you have to do with your time. So that is step two. What are you doing with your time? Start using your time, especially, again, even if you have a 9 to 5, you have a job, 9 to 5. So what? 5 to 9, those 4 hours right there. What are you doing with it? What are you doing? Or you have to be to work at 9, and so you wake up at 8:30. No, baby. You need to wake up at 4 a.m., 4:30, so that you have that time and you're using that time to send emails, send ads, write the ad, do this, make the flyer, send out some letters, return some phone calls. I'm using my time now to make money. No more scrolling. No more social media. I love y'all so much. No, not a lot of this, of watching all these streams and stuff like that, because now you're doing. Okay. So that's the second thing, saving time and focusing that time on that thing. It's not just one thing to next thing. So let me give you another, like, millionaire tip. You can't just task switch all the time. Okay. So I know a lot of us, we have like squirrel brains. You know what I mean? Right? Where you start this thing and then the phone rings or you get another email and now you're onto that thing. No, my phone's on do not disturb. That's why I love the early mornings. My kids were still asleep, husband's still asleep, the house is still quiet. I can now take those 4 hours, that 5 to 9 in the morning, and I'm focused and nobody's bothering me. And I don't keep task switching. I don't just jump from one thing to the next. I'm focused. Okay. So that's number two. And using that focus and that time focus for making money. Okay. So in my case, let me tell you exactly what I did. I just told you I'm wholesaling, right? Because now I understand. I know how to wholesale, right? So what is that? That's finding somebody that's in for, at the time, people that were pre foreclosure. Okay, they're behind on their mortgage payments. And I'm saying, we can help you with the pre foreclosure. I have investors that are going to buy the house from you for cash, and I'm sending those out. And everybody that's past due, they got the notice of default. That was public records. So I'm also spending my time now. Of course, now there's apps. I'm going to talk about that in a second, like getting software and tools that you can use. But at the time, like I told you, this is 2009 when I'm doing this. When I first started doing it, I still do this to this day. This is why I'm telling you stuff I do in 2026. But I'm taking you back to 2009. I'm going to tell you what you can do, because it doesn't take as much time as it used to. Win for you. I used to have to go to county records and pull them and then put them in an Excel spreadsheet. Now you can use apps like Deal Machine, PropStream, RealFlow, and it pulls it. And now you're just using that. So I used to have to spend some time pulling the list. You don't even have to do that anymore, right? So that cuts down how much time. So now you can get more done in that time. So now I'm finding people that are behind on the mortgage payments, getting them under contract. Then I'm going to RIA meetings and I'm selling those contracts. Okay. I'm getting them assigned for a fee. Easy. So now if I can pick up something, especially something that's high ticket like that, you can make a lot of money. So now let me get to number three. Okay. And this is where you have to decide, because each of you are different. Maybe you already have your business going. So either you're one of two things. Either you are business to business, Okay, so you are a business that sells to businesses, or you are a B2C. You are a business that sells directly to consumers. Okay, those are the two types of businesses, right? So if I'm wholesaling real estate, I am B2C. I am selling to a customer, talking to the seller. I'm not selling to a business. But either way, you have to decide, okay, are you B2B or are you B2C? All right, because that really doesn't matter. And now that you decide and you figure out which one you are going to copy success. Okay. You are going to find someone else that is doing it, that is successful, not the losers, not the people that failed at it, someone that's successful at it. And you're copying what they're doing. You're copying their ads, you're copying their emails, you're copying their billboards, you're copying their letters. You get what I'm saying? You're copying success, right? You get that. And so I have this saying, okay, that I learned, and I still stick to this to this day. One thing, again, you're this is your first $100,000 that you're coming up with, and you're going to put it in an account, and that's going to catapult you to that next level. Okay, and then we can even add to that business credit, getting business funding, getting those business credit cards, because now you can really take that yourself to the next level. And that's a lot of what I'm going to be teaching at the Grow Your Wealth Bootcamp. Again, final tickets, use code final 200 to save $200 off tickets, even the VIP. But it's one thing, I see, here's what I see a lot of people doing when they're trying to make $100,000. They have multiple products that they're focused on, and you got to focus in one product or one service. That's it. Because this again is your first $100,000. You're digging out of this. So I stayed just focused on wholesaling. I didn't do wholesaling and fixing and flipping when I first started. I just did wholesaling. Now I do wholesaling, fixing and flipping, rental properties, lease purchases, Airbnb. Like now I do lots. But when I first started, it was one thing. Okay. One thing to one avatar. One Okay, when I say avatar, what do I mean? I mean your ideal customer. So for me, it's Joe Schmo family that's behind on the mortgage payment, right? That's my avatar. I need to find people that are facing foreclosure. They're getting a ton of letters in the mail, right? Uh, Bank is calling. They're about to get foreclosed on. They received that notice of default. They owe $6,000, $5,000, $8,000 to cash that mortgage payment up, or they're gonna have to get out of that house. That's my avatar. So who is your avatar? Okay. And then I also had it down to a zip code. I wanted, when I first started, I told you I was in Connecticut. So I was focused on East Hartford because they had a lot of multifamilies. And I knew investors would pay me a lot of money for contracts of multifamilies, two units, 3 units, 4 units, especially that were in foreclosure. Those were super valuable, right? So that was my avatar. I got real clear about my one thing to my one avatar and my one platform. And so my one platform at the time was putting the door hangers in the neighborhood. That was my big thing on how I marketed to them. I would put these door hangers that said, "We're buying homes for cash in your area. Call this number for a free cash offer." Because people want to know how much their house is worth. How much would you give them? Right. And then I can have those conversations and actually wholesale them. They didn't know that because again, it doesn't matter. And even now, I keep some of the properties, so I don't necessarily wholesale them. But it's the same concept for wholesaling that it is for fixing and flipping, and then even rental properties, getting these properties at a discount. And I love that. And I want you to know that. So I'm sharing this with you openly because you can do these exact same things and easily get $100,000 easily. All right. Because again, 5,000 was the minimum. I've had wholesales that were 26,000. Do the math. How many do you need? Only four, less than four to get 100 grand. Right. Um, so one thing to one avatar on one platform, or one using one method, and until you get to a million. That's kind of a philosophy that I have. So you can easily get to 100,000. If you could do this to get to a million, which I have, you can also do this to get to 100,000 very easily, right? So are you B2B or are you B2C, right? Copy success. So find someone that's already successful doing what you're doing and copy them. And you don't care. You have no pride. I don't care if I'm copying my coach's letter. I don't care if I'm copying this title. Like I don't care. I copy success. That worked. I'm doing it. Right? Okay. So now you wrote that down. 1, 2, 3. Now let's get to 4. You got to keep learning a skill. And so one of the skill that I really had to hone in, and why I invested in the coach, was the skill of talking to people. I didn't really want to talk to them and convert them. And that was a very high value skill. Okay. So you got to learn a skill and do it over and over and over again. You don't just walk into something as an expert. You have to do it, and you have to do it multiple times, and you have to do it badly in order to do it very well. You know that. And the world is not here judging you. And if you have a bunch of people in your life that are judging you, get away from them. Come into my world. I know that you can do it. I believe in you. Again, I am not someone that, I got a lawsuit and that's how I got rich, or, I sued someone and now I'm rich. No, I had to earn it. And I started from the gutter, broke, bankrupt, in my parents' basement, bad credit, multiple foreclosures, pregnant, third kid. Had to humble myself. So what does that mean? I need a skill set that I can do that can make me a lot of money. And that was talking to them. And that was being able to put together letters and emails to get them to call me. So I invested in that skill. And now that I've cut expenses and I've reduced, I'm using my time wisely. Now is the time to invest in a skill where you can make a lot of money. Okay. So this is where the classes, the conferences, the seminars, the workshops, the boot camps, that's when that comes into play. And again, you don't have to spend a lot. Like I said, you can come to the Grow Your Wealth boot camp for less than $100. All right. Use code final200. And again, go there now because tickets are selling quickly. GrowYourWealthBootcamp.com. Use code final200 to save $200 off tickets, even the VIP option. The VIP option comes with a Q&A session with me before the event. And you also get e-copies of these 2 books and a few other things. All right. So, because I want you to be successful, but it's your horse. That's why I'm telling you about this book. Because one of the things my mentor taught me is you have to pick a horse. You can't just be all over the map. And you can ride any horse to success. I have met people that make millions of dollars selling rocks, selling cookies, selling landscaping business. Anything you name, there's someone making millions of dollars doing it, right? That's why I'm telling you, just come to the Grow Your Boot Camp, because it's going to open your mind too, that it's not just this one thing. Now, real estate is amazing. I'm always going to tell you, you want real estate because it's a tangible asset. You can cash flow, you can leverage it, equity, appreciation. It is the golden trinity of wealth. Okay. However, please let me be clear. In 2026, you can get rich doing anything, right? But you can't be focused on watching the news. You can't be wasting your time scrolling. You can't be worried about what's going on in the Middle East unless that's your business. So you're learning a skill and you're going to do it over and over and over again. You're going to pick your horse. You're going to pick the thing that you are going to do and you are going to stick with it. You're not going to just jump horse to horse to horse. You're not just going to jump from thing to thing. You can't get rich jumping from thing to thing to thing. You know that. All right. So you're going to pick your horse. You're going to focus and you're learning this skill to up level yourself. So if I already learned a little bit about wholesaling, right? And I'm doing it, I get a coach so I can learn how to convert more people. So I don't have to talk to 100 people to get 2 deals. I can talk to 10 people and get 2 deals. I can talk to 5 people and get 2 deals. So I'm going to invest in this coach. So I'm saying better things. I'm overcoming objections. I'm sending out better letters, making better email titles that make people open the email and call me up. You get that, right? So that's what I invested in. That's the skill. And that's why it's important to cut all those expenses in the beginning. So now you can allocate towards going to classes, seminars, conferences, and investing in yourself. Okay. But again, you're investing in a way, it's not a vacation or a massage or a facial investing in yourself. It's a skill set that's going to make me a lot of money. Okay. Now I learned this in 2009, and think about it. I use this skill in 2026. Not only do I use it in my own business, I make money teaching it to others. I make money writing it in books. I make money making YouTube videos about it. I make money going to events speaking about this. I make money going on other people's podcasts and other people's events and speaking at colleges and high school. So think about it, that I learned that one skill and I invested in it, and now I've multiplied that. That's what you want to do. That's what you do. All right. So now I'm going to go to number 5. I got to get some tools to help me so that it doesn't take me as much time. So now This is where I said you have an advantage Noel Randall did not have in 2009. This is where you win, baby. You now actually have AI. Let's talk about that. Imagine if I didn't have to write all those emails. I used to sit down. I remember time I wrote emails for a whole week, 4 hours a day for an entire week. Chat GPT did not exist then. So now you have Chat GPT. You can write 100 emails in 10 minutes. You can ask ChatGPT for the most viral, clickable type of ads, flyers, door hangers, the same thing that I did. And I had to write it my own self or try to find someone else's. You now get the advantage of a tool. And these are free tools for you. ChatGPT is free. But then there's softwares that you can use that will save you time. Like I mentioned, Deal Machine. That's my favorite for finding off-market deals. So instead of me having to go to the county and pull a list of all the notice of defaults, again, notice of defaults are the pre-foreclosures. Those are people that are facing foreclosure, but the bank hasn't taken the property back yet. Those were gold for me. Then probate leads became gold for me. People that were going to convalescent homes became gold for me. Dealing with divorce attorneys and the divorce attorney telling me they had a property became a gold mine. So you can find this one thing, but again, now there's software and apps that can help you do this and cut down the time on it. So that's step 5. You got to get some tools to save you even more time to get you to that next level where you can do even more. So instead of me able to do one deal a month at $5,000 wholesaling a deal, I can do 2 or 3 a month. That's where the money comes in, right? So it could be software. When I say get tools, it could be software. It could be coaching. It could be mentorship. It could be apps. It could be a VA where you have VAs. You know, I teach you guys all the time getting some VAs in Colombia and Philippines, and they make calls for you. So, but now you got those tools to help you do even more, make even more money. All right. And this is how you get $100,000. How you get that $100,000 now. And in 2026, you actually have free. You have Claude. You have Chat GPT. You have Gemini. You have AI that can do stuff for you that you don't even have to pay for. Right. And then if you want to do the real estate and make the money Noel did with real estate, you have Deal Machine. Right. Or you could prop stream or real flow. I've used both of those. I prefer Deal Machine now because that's my thing. But you have all of these tools and softwares that will pull the data for you and send the letters automatically for you. If you want to send letters or postcards, it helps you communicate directly. It'll tell you exactly what to say. It helps you analyze the deal. What should your offer be? You now have ads. I used to have to manually do those things. Now I don't, and you don't. So it's even more opportunity for you to make a lot of money. And actually at the boot camp, I'll go into this a lot more. So again, if you really want to learn the real estate combined with the business credit and how we take this to millions, get your tickets to the Grow Your Wealth Boot Camp. March 14th is this Saturday. We've already sold a bunch of tickets. I have new content for 2026, taking it to the next level. This is the first boot camp I've done at all in 2026. And I'm not even sure if I'll be able to do another one, but I'm trying to commit to giving, because when I was broke, bankrupt, and living in my parents' basement, I promised when I finally got this, I was going to teach others. And so that's what I'm here doing. And I want you guys to do the same because that's how we're going to change our whole community. All right. You know that. You learn it, you do it, you teach it to others. So I have all of these apps and stuff, and that's how you scale the business. Okay. That's how you're going to scale your business. All right. Now let's get to this last step, number 6, because this is how you can do a lot with a little. You're going to promote yourself in your business. You are not going to be a secret agent. If you want to make $100,000 and you want money coming in, that's from other people. That's from other things. It's not going to just come from inside of your body out into the world. Other people have your money. You have to give them value for it, right? You have to bring value and then the money comes. So you have to promote that you have this thing and what the benefits are of working with you or buying your product or buying your service or using your service, how you can help them. So you can't be so shy about who you are and what you have to offer, or you can't help anyone. Imagine if I was in my parents' basement, broke, bankrupt, bad credit, and I don't help those people. They would end up just like me. They would be in their parents' basement. But no, I'm able to send them those letters and stop them from going into foreclosure, and they sell the house to an investor. They win and I win. I get my $5,000 assignment fee. They get from under that mortgage. My investor wins because they get a house now for pennies on the dollar, right? So win, win, win. That's why I love wholesaling. And I'm telling you, if you're broke, wholesaling is it. Most people just quit before they ever make any money. And you got to get out of, you got to stop stopping. You got to stop quitting. You got to stop being so soft. And you got to be able to promote yourself. You have to promote yourself. That is step 6. You have to promote, 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 promote. Promote on your social media, promote on YouTube, promote with your friends. But I'm going to tell you an easy one. Okay. It's called buy referral only. You have in your phone, I know this right now in your phone, I know unequivocally, you have 50 phone numbers, right? People, maybe you haven't talked to them in a while. Maybe it was former co-workers, former friends, but you have 50 freaking phone numbers of people you could text right now. You could call them, you could text them, and you can email them, and you can promote and tell them what you are doing, and they will send you customers. If you are able to easily say what you do and how you bring value, they will bring you customers. And they will actually do warm invitations. I found this. They will not just, because you don't want them to just send you a referral. Don't just send me a number. Hey, could you put a group chat together if you know anybody that's behind on their mortgage payment? And I sent that out to all of the people in my contact. And all of a sudden, deals just started coming in. Right? So you got to know that it is active. Again, active. If you are wanting a bunch of money, you cannot just sit idly by and think that it is passive. Passive comes later. Active is what gets you out of the parents' basement. Active is what gets you where the collectors are no longer calling. Active is what gets you out of debt. Active is what gets you hundreds of thousands of dollars. But that first $100,000 that you make unlocks a lot. You're now no longer in that scarcity mode. You're no longer in that state of scarcity. You now get to be in a different place because you're not worried about the rent. You're not worried about how you're going to eat. You're not worried about how to pay the car note. You're not getting phone calls from collection agencies and this, that, and the other. So you have to get active and take action. All right. And that was another reason why I loved going to classes and conferences and workshops, because it got me motivated. It gave me things to do and I could take action. Remember, billionaires are made by active actions. It's active. It is not passive. All right. So going back through step number 1, you're going to cut your costs. Step number 2, you are going to save your time. You're going to start using your time differently, especially again, if you have a 9 to 5, then it's so very important for that 5 to 9 and that 5 to 9. Okay. Number 3, you are going to copy success. You are going to find someone that is successful in the thing that you want to do, and you're going to cut out all the noise and you're going to follow just that person. It could be Noel Randall. It might be someone else. It depends on your business. Okay. You are going to learn a skill that makes you money, not just a skill, but a skill could be sales. Skill could be sales calls. See, skill could be flipping houses. That skill. Skill could be how to just get lots and lots of business credit and you'll deploy it later. That's why I'm offering you to Grow Your Wealth Bootcamp. Use.com, growyourwealthbootcamp.com. Use code FINAL200. Number 5, you're going to get tools. You are not going to do everything yourself. You can hire a VA. You can get some software. You can get a coach. You can get, apps that help you. And that's why I do love now that you had to have, I'm telling you, you have an opportunity I did not have. I used to have to do all of these things manually. In 2026, people are able to do things way faster than Noel Randall did because of the technology that exists, right? You have Chat GPT, you have Claude, you have Gemini, can help you write emails, write proposals, send invoices, get you paid, collect on the invoices of people that haven't paid you, right? You have AI to help you with those things. And then you're going to number 6, promote, 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 promote. Stop being a secret agent. Stop being a secret business owner. Stop being, no one knows what you do. Everybody in your phone, take 50 people out of your phone and tell them what you do and how to send you customers. If they know anybody that has X, Y, and Z, please send them to me. And you can offer a referral fee depending on your business, right? And that could be, I'm going to split it with you. When I say a referral fee, you don't just pay them for a name and a number. When you close the deal, when you get paid, then you'll give them some of it. People like that anyway, and they understand. So you got to be able to promote yourself, and you already have everything that you need. But why I love real estate, I'm always pushing on you to have some real estate, is because it does provide equity, appreciation, cash flow. It's how I get large lump sums of cash and how I get monthly and consistent income. I have rental properties that bring me in monthly, consistent and stable income. Then I have these large lump sums of cash that I get when I sell off these properties. or if I take equity out of them. Okay. Um, and you got to reinvest for more customers. So that also kind of goes into number 6. What I'm saying, promote, promote, promote. As you get another customer, you get paid, you reinvest. Now that's more ads. Now that's more emails you get to send. And it just grows. And so I also want to be very inspirational to you. I tell you this from the bottom of my soul. I lived in my parents' basement when I was broke, bankrupt, bad credit, damn near 30 years old. So this is not like I'm telling you something when I was 17. Now I was damn near 30 years old. But by the time I was 36, I was a millionaire. So that first $100,000 is what unlocks it all. But you can't be afraid to learn. The minute you stop learning, all your money's going to go away. I still invest in learning. It's just at a higher level, because how do I go from millionaire to billionaire? I have to have more. I have to have something bigger. So I have to have, a thing where you come in and you have a business, for example, and we buy 5 and 6 properties together. Instead of just coaching a person on how to get a couple of properties, I have people that we build whole portfolios together, $1 million portfolios. And that's a 6-figure thing. So if now I can get 6 figures from that person and I had 5 and 10 of those, now I can easily get to billionaire. So I have to reinvest, but I also can't be afraid to promote. So you promote so that you can reinvest. All right. And I will teach you all of this and more. And again, how to unlock business credit. So if you have bad personal credit, forget about that. We're going to get some business credit and then we'll fix the personal credit later. Or if I have great personal credit, perfect. Now I can easily get business credit and unlock this and take this to the next level. Because if you give me a $50,000 line of credit, $100,000 line of credit, I can go out and start promoting if I know how to put the ads out, where to put them, how much to spend. You get what I'm saying? And then how to turn those ads, $5, $10 ads into $5,000 deals. Right? So growyourwealthbootcamp.com this Saturday, March 14th, 2026. It's a Saturday. If you do VIP, we start at 10 a.m. If you're general admission, we start at 11. The VIP gets a Q&A session with me before the event, so you can ask me questions and we can get going. You also, as a VIP person, not only do you get that Q&A session, you get, I said, e-copies of the Making It book and e-copies of the Pick a Horse book, and you actually even get a real estate investing course, okay? So that you can be ahead of the game. It is my commitment. I've helped a ton of people, and I want to keep helping. I know this is how we change our community. We have to learn something, do something, and teach it to others. This is how we'll change our community. The more things we own, the more businesses we own, the more capital we have access to, the more real estate that we own, the more wealthier we are and the more power we have. Okay? So growyourwealthbootcamp.com, because it's not about being rich. I want you to have wealth. Okay? Rich can go away with a bad, Chris Rock used to tell the joke, it goes away with a drug habit or something, but wealthy endures. Okay? Having apartment buildings and you don't have to sell them to get the money out. You can just get a line of credit that changes everything. If I have stocks and something happens in my life, I don't have to sell them. I can get a line of credit and use that as equity to give me the cash to keep me going. Right? So that's what the Grow Your Wealth Bootcamp will teach you and a whole lot more, because you got to give me a full day. So I'm here on this live stream. Absolutely want to let you know this is how you do it. But I'm telling you unequivocally, the $100,000 in the business, that first $100,000 unlocks the million. Just like with YouTube, I have to get the silver button before I can get the gold button, right? I got to get 100,000 subscribers before I can get 1 million. Then I got to get a million, now I get 10 million. So before I can become a billionaire, I got to be a millionaire. Then I got to be a multi-millionaire. Now I got to go to the billions. And so now I got to get more people owning businesses, and I own a piece of their business. Okay, so I'm transparent. We're going to do things together. We're in this together. We're stronger together, right? Okay. All right. Hopefully this video was really helpful. I'm loving the comments. Thank you so much for all the thumbs up and the hearts. You're going to the next level, and I cannot wait to witness your success. Like I said, I want to make sure you have all of the knowledge, all of the resources, and all of the tools that you need for your success. Come to the Grow Your Wealth Bootcamp. Go to growyourwealthbootcamp.com. Use code FINAL200 to save $200 off tickets, and I will see you Saturday. To your success.